This is the #1 thing that will predict your race day pace.
20, 845, 21, 833, 22, 834, 23, 837, 24, 1030, 25, 1017, 26, 955. And we're done, baby. We just finished.
Stop running your race before the race. That advice is some of the best advice that I've received. My friend Jeremy was looking at all my run stats and he noticed that almost all my runs were run really fast. And so then he told me about this 80-20 principle, that 80% of your runs should be ran at an easy, slow pace, and that only 20% should be ran at a fast pace. That you should save your best for the race. All right, welcome to the video. Today we're gonna be doing a heart rate run. So what this is every few months you wanna do a run where you're really testing out where your heart rate is on easy pace runs to kind of see where you're at on a long distance run. So this is gonna be a 16-mile run, testing out where my heart rate is at. And as you'll see in the video, I am definitely higher than where I like to be. And so I need to work on that over the next few months to get to where I need to be.
So the question is, how do you know what your heart rate zones are? Well, there's a few different ways to go about it. For simple, you just take 220 minus your age, and then that gives you your max heart rate. Then zone 2, you want it to be about 60 to 70% of that number. Zone 3, 70 to 80. Zone 4, about 80 to 90. And zone 5, 90 to 100. Another important number to monitor is your resting heart rate. So this is really good if you've got a Garmin watch, Coros watch, or an Aura ring, or a Whoop app. Monitoring your resting heart rate is going to really give you a good baseline as where you're at with your fitness level. It's also a great way of knowing kind of where you're at in terms of stress levels, knowing your baseline. And then when you start seeing that spike, it means you're probably a little bit stressed. Good morning. Another great one, a little bit more advanced, but is your HRV. I'll show a video right here about HRV. Heart rate variability. This is going to be really monitored through a more advanced app like Aura Ring, Whoop, or a lot of the newer sports watches do as well. But this is one of the main metrics that those things use to predict when you're going to get sick. It's also a great indicator of how your body is recovering from workouts. Also, another way to monitor your heart is through a heart rate chest strap through Garmin or the armband through Coros, and really get a more accurate picture as to what's going on there. But that'll help you set your zones as well. Monitoring your heart rate is important because your heart rate is kind of like the engine of your car. Okay, so most cars can drive 100 miles an hour. You could have a Honda Civic, a Bug, or you have a Porsche. They can all go 100 miles an hour, but depending on that engine is how much it's going to work at 100. That Honda Civic, that Bug is probably getting close to being maxed out at 100 miles an hour, or that Porsche is just getting warmed up. So your heart rate is like the engine, and the RPMs of a car is like your heart rate. So knowing that will tell you how hard it's working, how hard your engine's working, how hard your heart is working to run at certain paces. And you can only drive a car so fast with high RPMs before the engine starts to break down and you have some serious issues. So heart rate training, zone 2 efforts are going to strengthen your heart, make a bigger engine, more efficient engine. And so that's why this is so important, to monitor your heart and where it's at. All right, happy Saturday to you. Today we've got 16 miles. We are running around Lake Hefner which is a 10-mile loop, and then we've got 3 miles out and back to our cars. But today's plan is 16 miles. My watch is not set to pace, it is set to heart rate. So I've got my heart rate monitor on, and my watch, like I said, is set to heart rate, trying to stay in that 140s category for me. And so watching that the whole time, which ends up about a 920-ish pace. But as you can probably tell, we've got a lot of wind today. And we're in the summer, so the two big factors that are going to be playing in today is the wind and the heat. And so I've got wind at my back right now, so about 9:15, 9:20. My prediction is once we get to the other side of this dam and the wind is in my face, probably gonna have to slow down to about a 9:30, 9:35 is my guess, to keep my heart rate down. Hopefully that wind's not too bad for you guys. So, all right, let's go. We're at mile 7 right now. Just did a water stop, and now we're gonna get back at it and finish this thing. Let's go. All right, so right now I've got the wind at my back, so it's really tempting to pick up the pace, but I gotta know what today's goal is, which is easy miles. Morning. So when you're training, you gotta know what each run has designated. So today it's not about pace, today it's about heart rate, staying in that zone 2, low heart rate. So even though I've got wind in my back, I can pick it up. I know I gotta stay easy. Mile 8, 9:18, stayed at a 145, 147 pace, so doing great. All right, mile 9, 9:25, but my heart rate was about 150 for most of that. The wind is now at my side, a little bit at my face, so I gotta slow it down in order to get back down into 140s. Alright, a pro tip for you when you're on your long runs is to stash some water so you don't have to carry as much. Today we've got 16 miles and we've got 3 water stops. We've got one at mile 3, which will also be our stop at mile 13 on the way home. Then we've got another water stop that you saw me at mile about 7.5. And now I've got another water stop right here at about 10.25. Just wrapped up mile 10. Was able to stay at about a 149, 151-ish heart rate, which is a little bit higher than I like, but adjusting to the wind in my face, which I'm gonna be having probably most of, if not all, the way home. So gonna have to slow it down a little bit. I'm not sure what that pace was for mile 10, because my workout had strides right there, which I skipped because I'm doing extra miles today for easy. But I'm not quite sure what the pace was, but I know my heart rate was right at the high end of where I want to be, so I'm gonna have to slow it down on the way home. So let's see what we can do. All right, so I want to encourage you to get out there and run, walk, bike, whatever, because you're going to encourage somebody. So I know for me, there's so many guys I'm looking at and I'm just saying, man, I'm not there. They're encouraging me, inspiring me to get faster, get fitter, eat better, whatever it might be, right? But while I was running out there, this guy pointed at me and said, that's the goal, I want to be like that. So I just want to encourage you, wherever you're at, be an inspiration to somebody else, to get up and get going, get fit, and get moving. So let's keep inspiring people. All right, mile 11, about a 9:40 pace. Crushed it, stayed in the 140s. high 140s. Let's stay in the 140s. All right, mile 12, about a 945, 950. Heart rate at 150. As you can probably tell, the wind is right at my face, so it's hard to keep it down. Just think, when you're running with the wind in your face, it's like you're running uphill. So you got to run a little different, slower, swing your arms. Just know you're fighting for every step. All right, mile 13, about a 10-minute pace, and heart rate's at about 151. So again, it's heating up, sun's out, wind at my face, so heart rate's higher than I'd like to be, but just by a couple beats, so not too worried about it. Again, right now I'm walking to try and just reset my heart rate, get it back down in the low 140s before I pick up here again and get back at it. So don't be afraid to hit a reset and walk for a little bit to reset your heart rate, get it back down. Listen to your coach, listen to your workout plan, know what that specific goal is for that day. Is it speed? Is it heart rate control? Is it pushing lactic acid? What is the goal for that run? And make sure you're doing that, because not every run has the same goal. So let's try and make sure we're hitting the right goal each and every run. All right, mile 14, about a 950 pace, heart rate about 151. Again, some wind, heat, fatigue setting in. Heart rate's a little bit high, but still pretty good. But now we're gonna switch over, pick up the pace here for the last 2 miles, practice fatigue resistance, finishing strong those last couple miles of a marathon. If you want more information about fatigue resistance, you can watch my video about fatigue resistance on my YouTube channel and learn a little bit more how to fight off bonking in those last couple miles. So let's pick up the pace and get after it. Mile 15, about an 8:10. Nice to throw that down on mile 15. Let's finish up strong. All right, mile 16 was a 750 pace. Felt great. A little headwind slowed me down a little bit, but felt great. Had lots in the tank. Legs felt great. Lungs felt great. So good to push at the very end there. Overall 16 miles, averaged a 9:35 pace. So overall, great day. All right, let's go meet up with the crew and have a little post-run picnic.
So here are a few things that I'm going to be doing over the next few months to lower my heart rate. Number one is I'm going to be exchanging some of my running miles for stationary bike miles. And that's typically about a 4-to-1 ratio. So for every 1 mile I'm supposed to run, about 4 miles on the bike. I am going to be running even slower on my easy pace runs. So that's typically going to be easier to do on the treadmill. So I'm probably going to be doing that a little bit more. I think a big thing for me is hydration. I don't drink enough water during the day and definitely don't have enough electrolytes throughout the day. So I'm definitely gonna have to increase that for sure. And I drink quite a bit of caffeine. And so I'm gonna be trying to get to a point where I drink very little caffeine to see how that impacts. Also sauna. Sauna is also really helpful for lowering heart rate. So I'm gonna try and be more diligent about being in the sauna.